Let's take a moment just to ease our way into producer behavior. We're going to spend the majority of the semester looking at producer behavior. Um, and to switch our minds over from consumers to producers, I want to look at what we call market business structures. How do you set up your business? Think about this. If you got tired of working for your boss and you decide you're going to quit and open your own company, how would you structure it? How would it be set up? Now, one of the easiest ways to set up a business is as a sole proprietorship. Now, by definition, a sole proprietorship is a firm owned by one person. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages of a sole proprietorship. Some of the advantages are it's very easy to enter. You just sit down at your kitchen table and you start writing up a business plan. You just start doing what you need to do. Um, you're your own boss, right? You make all the decisions. You control everything. You get all the profit. There's lots of advantages. Your profit, your income, your profit is taxed once as income, so lots of advantages. But there are some disadvantages of a sole proprietorship. I think for me, the biggest one is the unlimited liability. This means when someone sues the company, they sue you, the owner. And everything that you own now becomes possible for somebody, if they sue you for $4 million and you don't have $4 million, all of your personal assets are now on the line. They can be attached and forcibly sold and things like that. So that's, to me, would be a big disadvantage of a sole proprietorship. Inability to raise capital, a limited lifetime, all sorts of disadvantages of a sole proprietorship. I think the other big disadvantage here is the ability to raise capital. As a sole proprietorship, you're stuck with your personal credit worthiness in order to raise capital. So there's one very easy way around this. Borrow money from somebody, a friend, a relative, whatever. Now, they may want some security and you may end up becoming partners. So the next market structure that we look at is a partnership. Now, partnership has kind of I guess maybe a crazy kind of definition. It is a firm owned by a limited number of owners. Right? Now, that limited number could be hundreds. Think of the large accounting firms or the large law firms that are all partnerships. So don't get don't get stuck thinking that a partnership has to be 2 people or 3 people and it's small. Not necessarily. Now, there are some distinct advantages of a partnership. Obviously, you have more capital. Again, your profit is taxed once as income. You have more help, more people to bounce ideas off of, all sorts of, great things. But the disadvantages are still there. The unlimited liability remains in a partnership. The other big disadvantage is that you need to have an agreement with your partners. Even if you go into business with your best friend, there are times when people just disagree. They just see things differently. So while more partners mean more money, It also means that you've got to take into account other people's opinions. Other disadvantage that comes to mind quickly is a limited lifetime for the company. When one partner dies, the partnership dies, which may mean you need to dissolve the company. You could have an agreement, a written agreement that says that when one partner dies, the other partner has the right to buy out the partner's estate. And so the business can keep going, but yet that partnership is dissolved. It may be a new partnership or it may become a sole proprietorship, but the partnership itself dissolves. One way to get around the disadvantages of a sole proprietorship or a partnership is to form a corporation. A corporation is a firm that takes on the legal identity of a person. When you sue a company, you sue the company, not the owners. And that leads to limited liability as far as the owners are concerned. The liability for owners is limited to the amount of money that they pay for their stocks, right? You can't lose more than you invested in your stocks. They can't come and take your house, your car, anything. So the great advantages of a corporation is that you have more capital. You can sell stock, and remember, stock is simply a claim on ownership. When you buy stock, you buy a piece of the company, you become an owner. You have limited liability, as we mentioned a moment ago. You also have an unlimited lifetime. Corporations can go on forever because their ownership can be bought and sold. If you own stock and you pass away, your stock can be transferred to someone else. All right, so the company, does not necessarily need to be a limited lifetime. The disadvantages, though, are double taxation. Profit of a company gets taxed as profit at the corporate rate. And then if you get any of the profit, say through dividends and things like that, that money then again is taxed as your personal income. So that profit gets taxed twice. The other disadvantage is that managers may act in a way other than what's in the best interest of the owner. Just because you're the manager, the CEO of a company, does not necessarily mean that you're an owner, that you own stock in the company. I certainly hope if you're the CEO of a company that you are buying, you own some of the stock in the company, but it doesn't necessarily have to fit. So, which structure do you think is best? What are some of the advantages and disadvantages that you see of a sole proprietorship, a partnership, or a corporation? Think about it. All right, we're going to now move on to look at producer behavior, but that's another lecture.